Welcome back to another Montreal Canadian play-by-play. Not at all. It's not a play-by-play, guys. It's about the Habs Nation podcast tonight. Hopefully, an amazing, great Friday, ready to rock and roll your weekend. It's Saturday morning here in Thailand. It's about 8:30 a.m. And for you guys, it's Friday night. Montreal Canadiens have a big W yesterday. We're going to talk about the game on the Montreal Canadiens last night. Then we're going to talk about something about the Montreal Canadiens. I think you have a lot of great subject I bring to you tonight to have a great conversation in the chat. Talking about the Montreal Canadiens, but honestly, the subject of the night, I think there's a great subject to talk about. It's about the wildcard clash for the Montreal Canadiens and the Eastern Conference for the wildcard spot in NHL. You have approximately over 17 fight for the spot number 7 or 8 if you want to go there. And we don't forget Tampa Bay Lightning, our third in the division, but only 1 point over the Boston Bruins and Columbus, the Boston Bruins. So there's something we have to follow up differently, very closely in the next couple of weeks. The situation on the standing in NHL. So we're going to go through this. We're going to go a little bit more deeper about different team, what they need to do, what they have to improve, and for the make the playoff for the Montreal Canadiens. So do you believe it? Do you think Montreal can make the playoff or not at the end of the year? Recently, the success of the team, is it good enough to be in the playoff? Are we are thinking too much, too optimistic? Are we now on the vibe of the Montreal Canadiens? What are you feeling about the Montreal Canadiens? But that's the one. That's the we're going to talk about this tonight. So this is the show to be. And a Friday night, why not to bring a co-host with me to talking about the Montreal in the NHL with a couple of news. So he's back in the house quickly from a dinner, and he take a time to be with us tonight. Of course, he's from Nova Scotia, and he's in the house tonight. He own and run the YouTube channel. It's called the Rick Loader Sport. And Mr. David is in the house tonight.
Oh my God!
Welcome back, Mr. David.
What's up, Coach?
How are you, my friend?
I'm very good. Happy Friday night. It's a rare Friday night episode of Habs Nation, and I'm happy to be here. I look forward to talking about the wildcard race, the Canadians, whatever you want to throw at me. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a time.
Yeah, and guys, usually we prepare the show and we send a bit more the topics of the show, right? And but tonight, surprise for Mr. David because he has no clue when I'm going to go with direction. So it's going to be really interesting to hear from you what you think about the Montreal Canadiens. A lot of people knock the door. Don't forget, please, to click on the like. Montreal will return also tomorrow night to play a game. Again, the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is a game to watch for the Montreal tomorrow. They play 2 games back-to-back weekend. Another weekend with a back-to-back game. Sunday night, again, the New York Rangers, the Montreal are going to be in action. So I'm definitely going to talk about different things tonight. And first of all, before we start, we're going to welcome everybody one by one very quickly, guys. We want to welcome Mr. XL is in the house tonight. Welcome back, XL. Hopefully an amazing, great start of the weekend. Alain Vaillancourt from Kentucky with Iran. Iran, the Nashville won last night. Hopefully doing well, Alan also. Ready for your weekend. By the way, Devin, Alan's going to be at the game, San Jose, Nashville.
Nice.
Tuesday night. I believe it's Tuesday night.
Go check out Tootsie's afterwards for me. My favorite bar, Tootsie's in Nashville.
Yeah. Fun to see San Jose. I think that's the team I would like to go if I have to see a team. Claude Richard is in the house. What about Jack McCall is in the house tonight? Jack hopefully doing well. RJ Calabro now. A very quiet night for him, honestly. You have only 2 games and NHL tonight. And then you have the Laval Rocket play. Michael Edge, Jacob Fowler are in action for the Montreal Canadiens pipeline. We have Tyler Top and Owen Brown Prats they are in action tonight. I'm going to give you a bit more information. Runway Kings, moderator, is in the house tonight. Ron, the big fan of the Kings and the team Utah. Jordan, welcome back, my friend. Thanks to be with us tonight. And we have Peter. Welcome back also, Peter. Thanks for being with us. Parton Loma Mew is in the house. I apologize for that one. A lot of interesting conversation. It's fun that people suggest players to come back or not to come back. Everything like that. We're going to talk about this. Ron, what do you think of the Buffalo being the only team to score a goal in the period? They did not record any shot on the net. Did you see that play, Devin?
I didn't. I haven't been near a TV all night. So is this something that happened tonight or last night?
It was the last game. I don't know if it was last night or the night before, but you have a collision, guys, the goaltender and the player for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Tell me what happened.
Um, the puck bounced back over the net. He come back, he hit the players for opponent team, and the puck go in.
Okay.
So the NHL does not consider this as a shot on the net. And
right. Okay.
they have one goal and then with zero shot on the net. So that's happening about that. So I think it's a record. I'm sure it is. Run one, honestly, it's rare, but it is what it is. And then A2 is in the house. He talk about Joshua Roy and Jure scratch his name up the call up list. Look like a shoulder, slight heart, and do the board. That's not good news to lose Joshua Roy. About that, thought Armel played strong game last night. We'll talk about this very quickly. MSU Detroit Finney's in the house. Hopefully you're doing well, Mr. MSU. AK is in the house. Morgan, welcome back also.
Hey, Simon Nemitz, 2 assists for Utica so far tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maurice Robillard is in the house. MSU, I'm watching the game, Michigan State, Michigan, by the way. 1-1. Luc Fortin knocked the door. Also, Gary Conway back in the house. Ellen Keeve from Ontario. Congratulations again, Ellen Keeve, for her daughter, the newborn. And then we have Gary back in the house from a long day on the road. Thanks everybody to be a part of the show. Thanks for all the likes. Everything on that. We're going to talk about the NHL news, if you don't mind, David. Yeah, that's the first one. Islanders, Sipakov got suspension, 3 games after he hit the head of Rand Poland for the Flyers yesterday. Surprisingly for me, 3 games. The last couple of years, the first suspension for the player has always been 2 games, so I don't know this year they decide. I did not see many suspensions this year. Are you agree with me, by the way?
It's been a lot slower on the suspension front this year. I don't think there's been very many. Certainly no big ones. I think of very many big ones. Can you?
Yeah. For me, that surprised me a bit. I thought it was 2 games on that one. I think it was a blindside hit, but not to suspend 3 games, a little bit hard for me. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Zeph Lecav is in the house. Welcome back. Willie Snyder and Moose are in the house. Edmonton Oilers sign Klingberg. Are you also, what do you think about that signature for the Edmonton Oilers, the right defenseman?
I mean, I think it's kind of grasping at straws a little bit for Edmonton right now. I mean, I think obviously defense has been their weakness for a number of years now, and they probably view that as an area of concern for them, and they're kind of they're kind of throwing things at the wall, hoping that something sticks. I don't know that Klingberg is the answer for them. I mean, again, maybe they're just sort of hoping that he'll he'll turn a corner and he'll be a better player. But I mean, I don't see Adam Klingberg being somebody that's going to put the Edmonton Oilers over the top. I don't see him being a great addition to that lineup. I mean, again, anything can happen. He could turn around, and I mean, he's capable of good hockey. We've seen it in the past. But again, I don't think that is somebody that Adam Klingberg isn't putting fear into any of the Edmonton Oilers opponents. I don't think so. I think they're just sort of rolling the dice and hope that something comes up. And to me, it's not a huge move to me. I'm just looking at the Siplikov hit as well. I'm surprised that that's a 3-game suspension. I've seen, I mean, the Trouba hit on Justin Barron was a lot worse than that. Certainly a lot worse than that. But who am I to say? So, but no, I'm not. I'm not. I mean, the Klingberg signing isn't. It's not news in my opinion.
Yeah, the player did not play since 2023. Uh, big surgery at the hip. Look, since he left the Dallas Stars, never turned around to be a good situation for him. Went to the Anaheim, signed 1 year contract for $7 million, won the Toronto Maple Leaf, and since that, listen, this is a player where concern is healthy, and if he's going to be a big strength, and obviously for me, it's like you already have Evan Bouchard. For me, Edmonton should looking more for a player, defenseman, more character like defensive side, more physical, with a little bit more experience in nature. I know Klember have experience in nature, but I think it's not the prototype the player the Edmontons are looking for. But we'll see what turn around for them for sure. And the next a couple of weeks. We have also Dennis knocked it out. Welcome back, Dennis. Thanks to be with us. AK LDP is in the house. A lot of people in the house. Tonight, if any question, guys, you want to ask us, Friday night is a little bit more open. We can talk about everything, anything. Just put the letter Q and fun. And we're going to take your question almost right away. So to give you a little bit more information, what's going on with your question, we're going to answer to you. Montreal Canadiens, Mr. Devin, honestly, you have a news. David Rebecca is skating. When I see that news 2 days ago, I was okay. That's okay. But I see a clip today. The kid is skating. He's skating hard. Like it's not like a power skating. When you start to come back on the ice after an injury, you do a lot of edge work, right? So one step, and then you could turn on the end and the inside edge, outside edge, and you do big circle. Then you move left and right. And, I did this for many years for the kids, but no, he's like full skating. Like he's skating with the umbrella behind him, and he does all the kind of the skating, power skating. So possible we see him maybe with the Laval Rocket, maybe before the end of the season. That would be a great additional player in case something happened with the Laval Rocket with injury, everything like that. And just for him to be back on skate and to be, possible play before the end of the season, this is good news for him.
Yeah, it's great news for everybody, really. I mean, it's well ahead of schedule. I saw the clip that was on TVA put out a clip not yesterday, but the day before, where he was on the ice. I think it was with Nicholas. It was with somebody. I'm not sure. I actually tried to clip it and put it on my Blue Sky account, but TVA has a bit of a blocker that doesn't allow you to do that. But no, you're right. Like it wasn't a matter of him just kind of going out there and just you know public skating like you're on the Rideau Canal. He was really skating. He was taking shots. He was making cuts. He was doing different things on the ice, and it certainly was encouraging to know that one, he's ahead of schedule, and two, there's still half a season left, and if he's on the ice skating around, then um, like you said, if he gets in the lineup for Laval for maybe the last 7 or 8 games of the year, and then can be with them for the playoffs, I think that's obviously a huge positive, and I think it also is good news in that it shows that he's a hard worker, right? He's a guy who wants to come back. He's committed to putting in the time that's required to do that, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're saying about the timeline. Unfortunately, I haven't really been able to follow a whole lot of what's been going on today, but no, if he can come back, that's I think, I mean, obviously in every possible way, it's positive news. It's good news.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We welcome back Abby Nation Pizza, PLW. Welcome all of you. And Mark Elliott, all of you guys back at AK. Talk about Clinton. Yes, AK. I understand you, the death of the Edmonton Oilers about that. So great things about this. We'll see what it's going to look like, Rebecca. And then another news from the Montreal Canadiens. No call up. So this is. Are you surprised about that? Montreal decides to no call anybody from the Laval Rocket for the weekend in Montreal. Um, if you are or not, what is the strategy of Martin Saint Louis or the reason why the Montreal Canadiens does not call anybody for the Laval Rocket?
I mean, for me, I'm not surprised. They've already shown us that their preference is to create as little change within their lineup as possible. They put Pizzetta onto the second line when Lina was out, and rather than put him on the fourth line and move somebody up, and all of a sudden you're acting two or three different lines instead of just one line. I think things are going well in Montreal. Things are going well in Laval right now. I think that their preference is to do as little as possible to mess with either of those two rosters. Um, I think that now that they're back home for the next, I think it's next 7 games at home or something like that in a row. I think you might see, might see somebody get a call up to come and play a game if they feel like that player can come up, play the game, and then go back down without missing a game in Laval. I think you might see that happen. But with them being on the road, all the way out on the, not the West Coast, but sort of on the far western part of the continent, I think that it's not surprising to me that they chose not to bring somebody up on a permanent basis. I think for them, like I said, things are going good in Montreal. Things are going good in Laval. I don't think that they really want to mess with that unless they absolutely have to. And frankly, they don't. They don't have to. And it's obviously worked. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Jared Davidson or Joshua. I guess somebody said Joshua Roy is hurt now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see, or even an Owen Beck get, a game, and you get called up to play in Montreal on a Tuesday, and then you're back down in Laval time to play on, Thursday or Friday, whatever is when they're, if Laval's playing at home and Montreal's playing at home, you can do that a lot more easily than you can when Montreal is, on the other side of the country. So, yeah. So the answer is I'm not surprised at all. I'm actually, it's exactly what I would have expected them to do.
Yeah. Look, I'm a little bit surprised not have the no call up. But when you go a little bit more, you think about this, right? You think, okay, Montreal Canadiens, okay, the situation Michael Pesera, and penalties, right? That's maybe the biggest problem for now. He played only 3-4 minutes. So with that, does not hurt. And I think Martin Saint Louis like to double shift his players over to bring someone from Laval Rocket at this moment. And they're winning on this, with the way they are doing right now, they're winning. So I think for him, he realized, you know what? When you have many penalties, whatever is a poor play on the PK, you have specific player in your lineup does not play a lot of minutes. Example, Brandon Gallagher example. So he can shift, double shift Gallagher, he can double shift Armia, or a player have a good game, he can double shift that player. So I think this is where I believe Martin St. Louis said, you know what, we are okay right now. And I think that's the reason
Yeah, and I think
they go that way until elements come back. They still have 2 more weeks. So I think this is, I feel
yeah,
they're going to do.
yeah, and I think, I mean, a couple things on. I mean, I think the way they're treating Pizzetta is that, I don't think they're going into the game and saying, "Oh God, we got to put him on the bench because he's playing so bad." They're going in the game knowing he's basically going to be an extra forward, and realistically, he's in the lineup in case somebody else gets hurt or somebody else can't go, and then they have him in the lineup and they can use him. So they're treating him as an extra guy, and they're more than happy to double Gallagher or Caulfield or whoever. The other thing I'll say is, I think it's, obviously that has taken some penalties since he's been there, but again, I mean, that penalty he took yesterday, to me, I mean, that's as soft a penalty as you ever see in NHL. The one he took against Utah, the Utah player Jack McBain had his stick. He pitchforked, Pizzetta between the legs, and Pizzetta fell down with the guy's stick between his legs, and Pizzetta gets called for holding the stick. Yeah, penalties are bad and they're at a bad time, but I have a hard time, giving him too much of a a tongue lashing for the penalties. Either one of those penalties are things where you can really say that he was being undisciplined. They were both pretty unfair penalties as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. We'll see what happening with that one. Before we jump on the recap game of that game last night, PLW have a good question for us, and I would like you to
Yeah, I
answer
see that.
first. You see that for the 22 player over the
Yeah, I
23?
do see it. Yeah, yeah. I think the main reason they're doing that is because I think they're. I mean, having your farm team basically in your same city where they can come back and forth as wanted. I think gives the Canadians the benefit to be able to do that where they don't have to carry 23 players. I mean, if they want to call somebody up, they can do it and send them back down with relative ease. And back in the day, their farm team. I mean, Sherbrooke, I guess, wasn't really that far, but when their farm team was in Halifax or their farm team was somewhere else, it was a little harder to do that. So I think where your farm team is just right next door and you can call guys up and down whenever you want. I think it allows them the benefit or the opportunity to just carry 22 guys. They don't have to carry the full roster if they don't want to. I think that's maybe what's going on there.
Yeah, I think at that moment that's maybe the reason right now they go through that, and I think if you go with that, if they have like another plus coming for the pipeline, whatever who they is, but it will going to be sit on the stand again, right? So they feel like why not to leave the open spot, the sort of cap the helping of that situation over there. But I think the reason behind that is just give it more flexibility in the next couple of weeks. What they're going to do with that, and honestly, they don't need it, and that's okay for right now. So we'll see what they're going to do in the next couple of weeks about the situation with the mix and the raise, the trade deadline, and how they're going to complete with this 23 player or not. 2-1 Laval Rocket losing right now after two periods. Michigan versus Michigan State is a big game right now. And NCAA 1-1. Michael Edge have 0 point. Fowler, I was just said that. I don't want to break anything here. So Fowler is doing well tonight. I'll give you a bit more information about this a little bit later during the night. A lot of people inside, this one pizza out. Can understand that for everybody. And Ronnie is in the house. Welcome back, Ronnie. Thanks to be a part of the show. Recap game between the team team Dallas and the team Montreal last night. Went by the score of the 3-1 yesterday. I will go to go with that one. I will give you a little bit more information about the game yesterday. When, by the score 3-1, like I mentioned, Tobesh, excellent between the pipe. Joel Amia, an empty goal, but also have 8 hits on the net. Sakaski is 5th of the season. Great pass by Cole Caulfield, by the way. New Hook is 8th of the season. Game-winning goal. Tilt the puck, a shot for Lane Hudson. Got an assist. 36 as point for Lane Hudson. Suzuki 2 point, 44 point now, 44 game, I believe. Caulfield 43 and 44 for the Montreal Canadiens. And with that, I will give you two information. Another explanation. Montreal is 8-2-0 in the last 10 game. They are the last 20 game at 14-5-1. And the last 10 game, Devin, they have 7 game and with only 2 goals and less against. This is really impressive for the on that side of the game, and also the 3 other team game they are 1 goal, 1 game of 3 goal, and 2 game of 4 goals. So goal again average is really low, and I think that's the reason why Tobesh is excellent. Montebo also delivery great W, and the 2 goal, the 2 game they lost, Cannabis Blue Jacket, and also the Chicago Blackhawks. So. Devin, what do you think about the performance of Montreal Canadiens yesterday? What is most impressive overall in that game?
I think what's most impressive to me right now is how well the entire team is playing. Like, obviously, everyone is sort of talking about the fact that the Canadians have, taken their game to the next level. Difference between the way they're playing now versus the way they were playing in October, and everyone is kind of surprised by that, and they're kind of like freaking out about it. But what really gets me is like is there anybody on the team last night that you would be able to set a bad game? So even when even when teams are playing well, like even you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Edmonton Oilers or whatever, like there's always a couple guys who you can look at and say, oh well, that guy didn't really have a great game, but everybody else did, so pretty good game and we won. Like they're really like they're it's been a real team effort where everybody is playing well. There's not like there's not like I mean coach, we do the the stood out, we do the obscure and the at the office every week. And honestly, the last couple of weeks, it's been really hard to pick a guy to send to the office, right? It's been a team effort that everybody is doing their job, and every night, against Utah, it was Lane Hudson, right? 3 assists. He was the guy who stood out. Last night it was Koval and Slavkovsky that were the standouts, and Armia's doing it, and even Dvorak is putting in an effort that is helping the team, and Anderson and Gallagher and Evans, and it's top to bottom the entire roster. It's like there's no guy that you can point to and say, well, the team played really, really well, and they're doing really, really good, but this guy maybe had a bit of like it's every guy every night, and it's just that's what's really standing out to me. And the coaches have been talking about how you know they're coming together as a team and they kind of coach themselves and they're accountable to one another, and they've developed this camaraderie amongst themselves, and that's kind of what stands out to me. And the reason they're winning is because they're all if if one guy messes up, there's going to be another guy standing there waiting to stand in for him and to take over and help him out. Like it's just there's no passengers, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like even on a night to night basis, there's nobody that's not showing up and doing their job, and that's what's really like. Even like we're talking Newhook and Doc are back in the mix now, and it's just everybody is doing their job, and it's again, I don't think that will last forever. I think there probably will be some steps backwards before the year's over, but right now they're really firing on all cylinders, and I mean all cylinders. Everybody is there and doing their job.
Great analyst or assessment about the game. But for me, also, I would say, listen, Tobias make a big save at the right time. A couple of breakaway, like Stickoven, Wade Johnson, a backdoor save with, again,
Yeah.
Robinson at some point. The PK was excellent for the Montreal Canadiens overall, again, the Dallas Star. Tobias also controlled the puck. A little bit difficulty at the beginning of the game. He was a bit nervous. I feel he was a bit nervous at the beginning of the game. A couple of rebounds left and right. His puck control is excellent with his stick, guys. He stopped the puck. He passed the help the defenseman. He remind me a little bit Carey Price, but compared like Montebo, Jake Allen, I think honestly, Tobias he does a really good job with his stick. And then you have also for me the fact like Montreal Canadian mindset is so different before. They gave a goal and they bounce back right away and they score a goal, tie the game. And then for over like 40 minutes or 45 minutes, honestly, almost 50 minutes, you get that. Oh no, 45 minutes. You get the next goal. The Montreal Canadiens stay there with a patient game, wait, and they don't give too much to the other stars. The other star came back at the beginning of the third period with a good couple of good shifts. The first 5 6 minutes, guys, it was all about the Dallas Star. Before the game, the goal again, New Hook, you have a really good opportunity for the Dallas Star. By the fact, it was the one where Jacky fouled on the crossover backwards. He opened up a 2 versus 1. And David Savard played, and then he did an amazing great play to cut the 2 versus 1. And then after that, you got the next whistle. And then the next face-off, New York scored a goal. And then Montreal protect also the lead all the way to the end. So again, this is another team where they really learn to how win the game in NHL by their patience, by their homework, to work every shift hard. They pay the price. They make details of the game, and I can talk about this a bit later. But that's what I feel like yesterday. It was another W by an effort from the team, and not only one specific team. You got black shot around. And honestly, when you look about this one around, you get a couple of shifts armure, honestly, but you cannot say honestly five player over the fact Dobesh have step suit out over anybody else. The rest, it's almost everybody like they do every line they did the game. They did a good solid game for the Montreal Canadiens against Dallas, and to win over there at the American line is not easy. We have to give them the credit for the Montreal Canadiens, but I want to bring to you three players in the last couple of games that making its friend for the Montreal Canadiens. First of all, Lane Hudson, he has on the streak a 6 game with 1 point. As on that span, he has 9.1 goal, 8 assists for +5 with an average of 23 minutes and 45 for Lane Hudson. This is the second time of the year. Remember, he tied the record, I believe, or he beat the record with the most straight game with 7 a couple weeks ago. I think he beat the record. So now he's on again, try to get 7 again, the Toronto Maple Leafs for Lane Hudson. Another, the quarterback we dream to get, we have it. We're not going to talk about the Calder Trophy, the Norris Trophy, or the MVP right tonight about Hudson. But look, he's have an amazing grade. He makes it fun and impact for the Montreal Canadiens. The second player I want to talk about is Nick Suzuki. Suzuki, in the last, he has 7 of the last 8 games with 1 point per game, and also have 10 points for Nick Suzuki, 2 goals, 8 assists, +7 for Nick Suzuki. And I will tell you one thing about Nick Suzuki. Every night he play against the opponent team. And every night, that line for the opponent team, they does not perform too much against Montreal Canadiens. They shut down most of the time. So, that's another credit for the Nick Suzuki performance. He has right now also a 50% face-off. And finally, I want to talk about one specific player. I think for me, the MVP, many people talk about Lane Hudson, but I think this players make a really huge impact on the first line for the Montreal Canadiens is Cole Caulfield. Caulfield, 19 of his last 25 games, he participated on the score sheet. He have 12 goals, 15 assists for 27 points. This is 1 point per game average so far. The last 16 games, he has 18 points, 7 goals during that span. He is right now 31st in the NHL standing on the most point right now. He has a shooting percentage of 18.5. Last year, he finished last or before last with a shot percentage of 8.9. This is 10% more. This is a really good indication of Cole Caulfield this year. His shoulder does not bother him anymore. At 5 versus 5, he has 32 points, or is 43 points at 5 versus 5. This is another new way Montreal Canadiens capitalized at 5 versus 5. They were struggling a lot last season. And finally, he led the NHL with 16 goals on the road for Cole Caulfield. So look, this is it's a Caulfield we was expect to score goal, but I think he become more complete hockey player in NHL. Right now, we have an excellent season for the Montreal Canadiens. Surprised a little bit me the way he performed with the Montreal Canadiens. 24 goals this year so far. He's on the pace for 46 with the Montreal Canadiens at the end of the year. But I would like to hear from you about Hudson, Suzuki, and Caulfield if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with Caulfield. Caulfield has just become like we all, as fans, we've all been waiting for Cole Caulfield to become player that we were told he was when he got drafted, right? That he's kind of like a goal scorer, like in the, the Cole Iserman, Austin Matthews, obviously not Austin Matthews, not to that level, but like a goal scorer, right? There's been a long line of guys who've come out of the United States national team development program who are snipers. And that's what we've been told Cole Caulfield was, and that's what we've been waiting for him to become. And the reality is, he's become much, much more than that, right? He's not a goal scorer anymore. He's not that guy who gets 10 goals and 3 assists, 3 assists or 2 assists for every 10 goal. He's a complete hockey player now, right? He's part of a line that shuts down, as you said, like he's part of a line that shuts down the other team's best players. He's a guy who can now create offense for himself and for his teammates. He's not just a guy who posts up, in the circle and waits for a one-timer that he can try and blast past the goalie. He's putting himself in better spots. He's putting his teammates in better spots. He's skating more, right? Like his game just looks transformed. Like he's a guy who skates all over the ice now. And he he's creating turnovers. Um, he's retrieving pucks along the board. He's winning board battles. He's doing all of these things. He's just a completely different hockey player. Um, I know I probably sound like a bit of a broken record because I say this all the time. People were panicking a little bit last year that he wasn't scoring the way everyone wanted him to or expected him to. But what he was doing was he was working on stuff, and now that he's worked on that stuff and he's developed different aspects of the game, he's bringing it all back together, right? And that's kind of what's happening with this team as well, right? They're working on things, and now they're able to take the 5 or 6 different things that they've worked on, and now they bring it together, and it's a different package, and it's been impressive, and Cole Caulfield is just become so much more than what we even what we thought we wanted. Like, I don't think we ever expected him to be a point game guy, right? We hoped that he'd become a 40 or a 50 goal scorer and that he'd be a sniper and he'd be, kind of a guy who had, more goals, assists, and he'd be that kind, but he's just turned into so much more than that. And it's just been really fun to watch. As far as Suzuki goes, Suzuki is just, he's the backbone of this team. Like even when you don't really notice him, he's still the best player on the ice. He's consistent. He shows up every night. He never takes a shift off. When he plays badly, which is very very rarely, it stands out because it happens so rarely. Like at the beginning of the year, there were 2 or 3 games where he had maybe not his best games, but again, it was just sort of him getting grooved a little bit at the beginning of the year. But he's a point per game guy, but he's also a consistent guy, right? He's not one of those guys who will get, 6 or 7 points over 2 or 3 games and then disappear for 3 or 4 games. Like every night he's out there doing something. He's helping the team out. Like, so now we're talking about how the team doesn't fall apart when, you get before earlier in the season, the other team would score a goal and then they'd score another goal and the team would kind of fall apart. I think Nick Suzuki is part of, the, he's the one who kind of leads the charge when he sort of says, he's able to get the team back into their structure and say, okay, guys, we gave up a goal, but this is not the end of the game. We can now come back and we can win this game. And that's why we're seeing them, be able to give up the first goal of the game and still win. Where, earlier in the season, if they gave up that first goal, you might as well pack up your tent. The game was over, right? And I think he's a big part of that. Kent Hughes spoke, in his press conference there last week about not inundating the roster with young players, and we have to be careful about, not, it'll be. I think he said it would be a regression if we took, if we had too many young players in the lineup. But Nick Suzuki is now one of those veterans, right? Cole Caulfield, is arguably now one of those veterans. So when you talk about having to get rid of or losing Armia or losing, Dvorak or whatever, you can do that now because Caulfield and Suzuki and even Gooley, you could argue, are no longer sort of those young, inexperienced players that you don't feel comfortable, putting in charge of things. So, those players, despite the fact that they're a little bit older, they're not the youngest kids. They're not the 19 and 20 and 21-year-olds, but they're still developing and they're getting better. And, Suzuki's game, I think, still has, improvement. I think he could still even become more than what he already is. Say Caulfield, and I think, if you've got a first line, people, there are still people out there that will debate whether or not Nick Suzuki is a first line. I think it's an absurd debate. I think he clearly is. But if you've got a first line with 2 guys and maybe 3 guys eventually who all have 80, 85 points, that's on par with, anybody in the NHL, right? If Caulfield is scoring a point per game and Suzuki is scoring a point per game, and Slavkovsky is, again, we don't know where he's going to go, but I mean, he's certainly capable, I think, from what we've seen, of being a 75, 80 point guy. You got 3 guys who are scoring 80 points in a season. that's as good as any line in the NHL. You might not have Connor McDavid and you might not have Nathan McKinnon centering your top line, but you've got 240 points between three guys. That's that's something that any team in the league would want to have. So I think it bodes well for the Canadiens that first line is kind of obviously if players come along and they can play above that level, then maybe they can supplant those guys. But having those three guys under contract in place, play the way that they are for the next 6-7 years, it really makes life easier in a lot of ways for the coaching staff and management of this team. And I think it's a real testament to the way they've built this roster that they have that kind of firepower. Not just firepower. I mean, again, like you said, Coach, it's not just about the firepower. They can shut down the best players in the NHL too, right? So these are not just one-dimensional offensive hockey players. Right? They're players who can also go out there and shut down Nathan McKinnon. They can go out there and shut down Jack Eichel. They can they could shut down. Remember, I mean, if you remember the game where the Canadiens played against Tampa Bay, and Nick Suzuki was just all over. My God, drawing a blank. Russian for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Starts
I
with a
think
K. Kucherov.
it's good
So
overall for the Montreal again. They have each position they have someone better and better, right? I think if you think about the Hudson work very well, the plus step up like Caulfield this season, and then the goaltender. I think we talk a lot about Tobash, but we cannot forget Montembeau. Montembeau did really a lot of good performance for the Montreal Canadiens also. So yeah, a little bit more balance on different position, and that helping them to score more goals. By the way, that's the reason behind that, and it's just going to get better and better for sure. So then we'll see what happening. For that, I'll only get better and better. Exactly what Kayla said in the chat. Welcome in the house. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, please, to click on the like and don't forget to subscribe at the Hockey Nation Live Show. We appreciate a lot to be with us on this Friday night. The stood out players, Mr. Devin, very quickly, obscure in office.
oh, geez. I'll go obscure first, and I'll say Yoel Armia. I thought he's had a great week. I thought he played excellent last night in Dallas. He played probably even better in Utah the night before. He scored the empty net goal last night. Just like his using his big body for a change, right? Like, I mean, that was always kind of the complaint about him, was that he was a big guy, but he didn't play like it. And he certainly has been lately. I don't know what's been the change with him, but he's been a difference maker. The penalty kill, right? We talk about what the penalty kill is, but it's good because of guys like Yoel Armia. So I will put him as my obscure performer of the week. If I'm going at the office, I mean, I think you've kind of got to go with Pizzetta. Again, I don't know that it's completely fair. I think we said the same thing last week, that Pizzetta had to go to the office, but again, it's hard to blame him. I think that like you said, like I said earlier, the penalties that got called against him in Utah and Dallas, I think, were both extraordinarily unfair calls. He's in a very difficult situation. Sitting in the press box for 2 months and then expecting to jump into the lineup and to contribute, I think is a tough ask for anybody. But again, if we're picking a guy, again, it's a tribute to how well the team has played, that it's very difficult to find a guy to send to the office. But I guess, he would be the guy that really fit that category. And I think the player that stood out for me, I mean, it's between, we've already talked about both of the two guys. I think to me, it's between Caulfield and Hudson. But I think I'll go Hudson. And the reason I'll say Hudson, and I mean, again, it could have just as easily been, it could have been anybody. It could have been Caulfield. It could have been Suzuki, but Hudson just continues to elevate. When you think that he's gotten to the point where he's, this is as good as it gets, he just takes it to another level. And, that game in Utah was just, offensively, it was spectacular. His defensive game continues to improve. I think he's a plus 10 or 11 in his last, since Christmas time. Like, his play, there are respected national broadcasters and national reporters and commentators and analysts out there that still talk about the fact that Lane Hutton is a defensive liability, and it just shows you that they're not watching the Montreal Canadiens play. Anybody who's watching the Montreal Canadiens play on a day in and day out basis knows that Lane Hutson's defensive game is above average in the NHL. He's got an above average defensive game. Offensive game, production wise anyway, is just as good as it was at the very beginning. And his ability to adapt and get better, change his game to fix the mistakes and to improve and all of that is just it's just on a level of frankly, I don't think I've ever seen any with the Montreal Canadiens that has the ability to improve their game on such a steep curve as what we're seeing from Lane Hutson. I don't know that there's been anybody.
Laval scored a goal. Owen
Okay.
Beck come back now. The deficit of 2 goals again. Laval Wildcard came back with 3 goals. They did exactly the same thing Wednesday night again. The Scranton with a deficit of 3 goals. Then they came back. Now they look like pretty good. Owen Beck scored his 9. Laurent Jaguar scored before that is 8 of the season. So Laval Wildcard with approximately 3 minutes to go remaining. Lead 3-2 tonight. As soon out players, I go with. I'm sorry.
Caden Primo, 20 saves, 23 shots.
Yeah. My out players, I go with Tobesh for me.
Okay, yeah, good pick.
I think Tobesh was pretty good between that for the Montreal Canadiens. Obscure. Now, Joel Armia, I know you put him on the standout. For what he brings behind everything, Armia, I think I will go with obscure Joel Armia on that one. On this one. And then I'm going to surprise everybody tonight at the office.
Nobody.
Patrick Laney last night. Laney for me was maybe his worst game for the Montreal Canadiens. Was not involved a lot. It was floating on the ice. This is the Laney I see many years with the Columbus Blue Jacket where good game and then disappear. I think I expect more for him. And yesterday, he was not his best, in my opinion. So a little bit bring in and remind him, look, we need more from you. You know what you bring on the table. And I think for me, that's, because it's easy to piss it up, right? Or it was at the time was Primo. It's just like, I think we need to turn the record to bring some players. Just to remind them, look, we know what you need, what you can do. And I think this is a player, Patrick Laney, can helping New Hook and he can helping the Duck to have a better year or at least a better second half of the year. Yes, you can say, okay, you have this, but I think overall for me, we need more from him. 5 versus 5. That's I know what he can do on the power play, and I know what he should have puck. But yesterday, I think Laney have 6 chances on the shot of the net. He missed 4 of them on the power play, and I can go again. It's not against what I said to you. What I'm trying to tell you is more about, all right, try to be more consistency, and we need more for Patrick Laney. So nothing wrong with that on my obscure player for the Montreal Canadiens tonight. After that, we want to talk about fun things. Before we go on at 9:30, we're going to talk about the subject of the night. I'm watching 5 games right now on my computer right now. Laval Rocket lead 3-2. The Michigan tied the game 2-2. Michael Edge has a goal, and I don't want to talk about Fowler. So I'm going to give you a little bit more information a bit later. Thanks for you be a part of the show. Next thing, can use priority. Evans, Armia, or Savard. So I want to give us, Devin, and the people in the chat, how do you consider the priority for the Montreal Canadiens for the 3 players? All of them are you free at the end. With Devorak, I believe Devorak is out, and with Pesada. So they have 3 players right now. What do you do? What do you expect? We don't want to take more about the contract or everything like that, but you can mention, okay, if he's not signed for X dollars for the number of the year, he's gone. but what he bring on the table is what he needs. So that priority for Kenyo, who he will be for you, for the Montreal Canadiens, and what they can get him or not, or you let him go.
Yeah. I mean, I think Evans, is the bigger priority there. I think Evans has the most to offer, and I think Evans is the guy who will contribute or has the ability to contribute the most to this team over the next number of years, as they become contenders. So I think he would probably be the priority of those three guys that I would want to see signed. I think Armia and Savard are kind of on an even level for me. I think Savard, for me, I think obviously him being a right-handed defenseman obviously gives him some value as far as staying with the team. I think also his experience, role he plays on the team from a leadership perspective, I think is a huge factor to consider. He's kind of everybody's father figure, big brother kind of thing, and he plays that role really really well with the organization. You and I talked a couple weeks ago, Coach, about the fact that he's a francophone Quebecer. He loves Montreal. His wife loves Montreal. His kids are there. He's a true blue. Despite the fact that he's only been with the Canadiens for a few years, he's a true blue Montreal Canadian. I think he would love to be a part of the organization, for the rest of his career, and even after his career is over, probably. So in that respect, Savard might be, I don't know if he'd be a priority, but he'd be somebody you would consider keeping around. Maybe you let him go and then you bring him back after he's done. Um, or as we've talked, maybe if he's comfortable being that seventh defenseman, the guy who sits in the press box and comes in and plays once every 5 or 6, 7 games, or if somebody's hurt or needs a night off or whatever, you give him that role. I think the big issue for both Armia and Savard is that there's players coming up behind them, right? There's young guys coming up who will want to, or the team will want to have play in their positions, right? Canadians are going to have, Reinbacher, Mayu, Engstrom, Kanyushkov, perhaps, depending. I mean, I don't know, Kanyushkov's probably a few years away, likely, but those guys they're gonna want to get those guys in the lineup, and they're gonna want to get them ice time, and they're gonna want to get them, into the mix. And so, to what degree are you going to keep Savard around, and they might block them from coming in? As far as Armia is concerned, is he going to start, getting in the way of guys like, Beck and Kapanen and Michael Hage, perhaps, or Joshua Roy, or these guys, or is he going to get in the way of those guys coming into the line? And so, those are the questions, I think you have to ask yourself from a Canadian's perspective. And, maybe that means you sign Armia for a year, or you sign Savard for a year. But, as far as having them around long term, I don't think that that's a priority for this team. Whereas I think there might be some level of interest in keeping Evans around for more than a year or two. I think you might keep him around for 3 or 4 years. To play in that fourth line role, which I think he could bring some veteran leadership. You are going to have a couple veterans around, right? You're not, you can't go, you can't get rid of everybody. I think you do have to have a couple of them around, and I think Evans is a prime candidate for that. I think he's got good leadership. He contributes in so many different ways. He's a fourth liner, but he also, he's a penalty killer. And obviously he's got some. I don't expect that his production that we're seeing from him this year is going to, carry on necessarily for the rest of his career. But if he can, contribute offensively a little bit and still, be that penalty killer, the guy who, you can put out there to eat minutes when you need him to, put him out there against the team's best players, other teams' best players. I think, he has a role to play. So, maybe you sign Armia or Savard for short-term contracts for a year, and feel like, the guys coming up behind them aren't quite ready. But I think for me, the priority out of those three guys is definitely Jake Evans.
Great comments about this event. I will go that way. Maybe not the priority. I will give you what I'm thinking about that. Joan Armia, a 2 year contract. I will resign him. 2.5, 2.7, maybe 2.8, but below $3 million. Jake Evans, I will sign him for 3 years. Not more at 3.5. He did not have 0 point the last 8 games for Evans. in my opinion. And I think $3 million for the center number 4 is not worth it, in my opinion. Now, you can have also Savard. Savard, for me, don't go nowhere. Savard's going to be with the Montreal Canadiens or he's going to be retired. And I think he's not going to be retired. I think it would Montreal Canadiens going to offer him a 1 year contract or a 2 years contract. More a 1 year contract. He will sign at $2 million, maybe 2.5 possible, and he would accept. I think he have a job if he want to be with the Montreal Canadiens organization for a long time. He is a grandpa for the Montreal Canadiens. He is the mentor for the Montreal Canadiens. His leadership, his experience still there. And everything will go also the fact like maybe Mayu is not ready, maybe other players are not ready as the right defenseman. I think Savard can play 40, 50 games. You put this on the table, the family is in Montreal, born in Montreal. At that age, moving all the kids for another year or 2 years where he make a ton of money. I don't think this is his priority. His life. His life is about family. He love Montreal. He want his kid to learn French, everything like that. So I can go to with Savard. That's set up Montreal with Montreal. Armia is 31 years old, turned 32. Same situation with Armia like Savard. I don't think so. Armia will accept a deal for 1 extra year to play in Nashville for make another $2.5 million, which is already established. He know what he's doing with the Montreal Canadiens. And Armia worked him for himself for the last 3 years. When I said that, Devin, he worked with his illness, right? His mental illness. He worked with the sport psychology for 2 years or 3 years, the Montreal Canadiens. He went to the Laval Rocket. Look how he react with Laval Rocket. He could be pity, he could be negative. No, he become a leader over there. He come back. Look his story with the Montreal Canadiens in the last 18 game, 18 months. Point of that, he fit in the culture of Montreal Canadiens. The case for me is Jake Evans. And the Evans answer, guys, is about, I don't know who they want him to be. A third center, a fourth center, and how much money they want to give to him, and how much what Jake Evans, his agent, are looking for. In my opinion, if you think an important player for your team is only on the PK and the role he play on the forward line, but I think we missed the point here. I think for me, with the salary cap in the next couple of years, Marcus said yesterday, you're not worried about the deal, the longevity of the deal. For me, it is. I cannot sign Jake Evans for 5, 6 years and not for 4 years. I don't want it because you have to pay Hudson, Demidov, in the next couple of years, and then more players going to be to get money. So overall, that's the reason I said that to you, David. So my priority for me, Joan Armia, David Savard, and then after that, Jake Evans. That's how I see that because the longevity of the contract is Jake Evans. I know what he brings. I know what he does on the PK. I know what he does, but you have to limit your money on the Jake Evans situation and the longevity of contract. And I'm sure PLW will be agree, many of you. He had a chance to make more money outside the Montreal Canadiens. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's I don't think there's any doubt that he can make more money outside of Montreal. But if we're talking about guys who are, part of the Montreal culture and fit within the culture of this team, I mean, Jake Evans is at the top of the list. I agree with you. I mean, if he wants to go somewhere and make more money, he probably will be able to. The question to me will be whether or not he wants to stay in Montreal and whether or not he's willing to take a little bit less money to stay here. I think that if he and his agent decide that, no, we're going to test the free agent market and we're going to put our name out there, I suspect that he'll get more money than Montreal probably should pay him, and more than Montreal will be willing to pay him. But if he's willing to, to take a little bit less and to sign before the trade deadline, I think it'll probably happen. I get what you're saying about, to me, $3 million for 4 years, or even $3.5 million for 4 years. I get that. That's I won't say it's a lot of money for a line, but you're getting a guy who's arguably the best fourth line center in the NHL. And if the cap goes up, the way that some people say it's going to, I think you can live with that, especially if he's going to be on the fourth line with, young players who are on their entry level contracts for the next few years. So, but I get it. I get where you're coming from. But to me, the value he brings to the team and what he's capable of bringing to the team certainly surpasses anything that Armia or Savard can bring. But again, I don't think for me, I'm not going to lose sleep over any of those guys going. I think that any of those guys can be replaced within this organization, right? If Evans goes, I think they have the young players to replace him. If Savard goes, I think they have the young players to replace him. If Armia goes, I think they have the young players to replace him. And I they've put themselves in a position, an enviable position, where they can play this game. They can Evans and say, listen, we love you. We want you to stay. We see you as a fourth line player on our team as we go forward. We only pay so much money to a fourth line player, and this is what we're willing to offer you. And if you want to go and test the free agent market and you think you can get some more than that somewhere else, then we're not going to stand in your way. But we want you to try and we would love for you to stay here, and this is what we envision as your role going forward. And we talked about this. I don't know if it was on my show or on your show. I talked about this before. The other thing for Evans about staying in Montreal is that Montreal is familiar with Jake Evans. They know exactly what he is, right? If he goes, let's say he goes and plays and goes to Pittsburgh, the contract goes to Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden the coaching staff, put him on the third line, and they start expecting more out of him that maybe he's not capable of. Then things can go sideways in a place like that where people start to become disappointed. Oh, this Jake Evans, he's supposed to be a 15, 20 goal scorer, and now he's on our third line and he's only getting 5 or 6 goals a year. That can go sideways for him. So I think for Evans, there is some benefit in staying in Montreal where he's been for a long time. He knows the organization and the organization knows him. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think either of us probably would admit that neither of us really knows what's going to happen, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, yeah, sorry about that. I think overall, but what do you think about Savard? Over, do you think he can be a really important player for the Montreal for the development of the other players, like mentorship, player like Mayu or the young
Yeah,
core? I think like next year they're going to still have a young core of the defensemen. Devin.
absolutely. I mean, I think you're. I mean, we talked about it, like I said a while ago, about Savard and his connection. In this short time, the connection he's made with the organization, the role he plays, on the ice with the younger players, and how he is sort of a grandfather or father figure to younger guys, and how he can mentor those guys. Like, he's the only guy on the team who's won a Stanley Cup, right? He knows, he's got that experience under his belt. And he fits within the city, and he wants to be there. I agree with all of that. And to me, if the decision is to keep him, and let him play another year and then retire and then become another Paul Byron or whatever, in that kind of role. Yeah, I mean, I get who like I think it was here in the chat yesterday. I don't know if you ever answered it, but we were kind of going back and forth about if Ivan Demidov is coming to Montreal next year to play for the Canadiens, and which of the Montreal Canadiens veterans do you think he should go live with? Right, and he's going to be an 18-year-old kid in Montreal. New country, new language, and the first name that probably comes to your mind when you think about that is David Savard. Like, who would you rather, him go live with? David Savard, maybe Mike Madison. Uh, you know, he's not going to go live with Brendan Gallagher. Brendan Gallagher, is going to have a new baby. But like that's a role that a guy like David Savard plays on a team like this. Like, you could see Demidov moving to Canada, and living with David Savard and his family for a year, and getting getting used to being here, and learning French, learning English. He already has a bit of a grasp of English, but living living with David Savard and his family, could learn some French. So again, I really, it would be, I would be very happy for David Savard to remain on this team. But again, I think the only thing that I would put on that as a caveat would be, you would have to understand that his role will diminish this roster as guys like Reinbacher and Engstrom and Mayu and other guys, make their way up to the big team. He'll understand that, you're not going to be, he's already slid down to the third pairing now where he's playing with Jacka. He started with Lane Hudson and, but again, he'll have to understand that he's not going to be a top, and he probably, I would expect he has no problem with that, right? I mean, he's happy on the team and to play, 12, 14 minutes a game and be on the third pairing, or even to be, a seventh defenseman who plays, every fourth or fifth game and sits in the press box. So, yeah, I think he would love to be here, and I think he would certainly. Again, you see the way that, I mean, he's a beloved figure. I mean, who doesn't like David Savard
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
on and off ice?
Let's move on for the wildcard race, Devin, and for the people in the chat. And we'll see where we are at this moment. So this is the subject of the night, a little bit late, but I think we all be fine anyway. Tonight, guys, it's Friday night. Devin, for the first time, Devin, you're going to
Single class.
participate tonight. Tonight, for the first time, you're going to participate at the Friendship Quiz.
Oh, okay. I hope I don't
Yeah.
fail.
You never do that. The Friendship Quiz is really well known inside of the channel. AK is a really good player, and Artap is excellent players. Luc Lafortune, he cheat. He use Google, but otherwise, everybody does not use Google. Look, I'm sure he's around here, but look, the wild card, and I think we need to go there because I think this is very interesting about that the wild card. This is the situation before the game tonight. Columbus 50 points, Boston 49, Ottawa 48, Montreal 48, Detroit 46, Philadelphia 46, New York Rangers 45, and now the Pittsburgh win tonight. They are back at 46. If you look about the winning percentage, Pittsburgh is really the worst of this. They have only played 47 games. Boston played 46. Now, think about this. Montreal is in the mix. They have only 3 points more this year compared to last season. But my point behind that is whatever they win, 8-2 on the road, 14-5-1 the last 20 games, and I can go all the way. They're still only in the mix because Detroit 8-9. Ottawa won the last 4 games, I believe. Columbus 8-2-0 in the last 10 games. Detroit are 8-2-0-2, and Montreal, they are looking good also. And team are still winning, and you have no movement. Like nobody, he pick up a spot and go all the way alone. And don't forget Tampa Bay Lightning, they are only for 51 points, by the way. But still interesting. So the wild card, guys, is really with parity this year and not involve 4 teams. But we talk about guys that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 team plus Tampa 9 team. So I know the excitement, Devin. I know the fans love it. What's going on with Montreal Canadiens? I get the vibes. The channel grow. This the last game was the maybe the bigger viewers with the record of the likes, and I can go all the way like that. But we have to be realistic, guys. Montreal is not out of the wood yet, and the Montreal did not prove anything yet. Said that, the future, Devin, is excellent for the Montreal Canadiens. If you take a moment and Devin, the future of Pittsburgh, not good. Philadelphia, we don't know. Detroit, they're hanging there, but the prospect is not like he was before. The Ottawa Senators, their prospect, they are nobody anymore. They are the 27, I believe, in the NHL prospect ranking. The Boston Bruins, their prospect is not there anymore. So in the future, Montreal are looking good. But I don't see Montreal in the playoff, obviously. Yeah, I'm not there yet. Mentally, physically, I'm not seeing Montreal in the playoff yet this year. But the chance are there. They have a chance to make it. I don't see that yet. They're still missing a couple of pieces of the puzzle. The trade deadline could change something, Devin. but it's fun to watching them, the improvement, the development, and the progression of the Montreal Canadiens because the fun area of the game is very different. Even the goal, the goal for, the goal again, the power play, the PK, the team in general increase the better. The team, if on the team, only the team together is better. It's individual player is I mean, it's amazing. Leonardson, Caulfield, Suzuki, Tobias right now, but still missing a couple of pieces to get the next level. And the race, yes, but this is a situation World Cup. When you see the graphic now, what do you see there? What do you project? What could happen? And one specific team, or two team, or three team, or the Montreal Canadiens overall?
Yeah, just in honor of the quiz, I got my Montreal Canadiens microphone out. Um, so I guess there's two things. One, you're asking me what I see in that graph, and I'll answer that in a second. But what I want to say first of all is that for me, I agree with you completely. I'm not you know I'm not certain they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not planning anything. It could go either way. I still but I'm not necessarily excited by this graphic. I'm not excited by the fact that they're 1 point out of a wild card spot. Just point behind. But what I'm excited about is the way they're playing hockey right now. Right? They're playing incredible hockey, and so they could be down where Pittsburgh is right now, and I would still be excited just because of the way they're playing because it's showing me what they're capable and what the future is like for this team. So to me, the standings aren't what gets me excited. It's more of the fact that they're 8-1-1 in their last 10. Their goal differential now for the entire season is almost they're only at -10 now, right? And last year I think they were -40 something. The year before that they were -50 something. So to me, the excitement doesn't come from their spot in the standings. It comes from the hockey that they're playing and what they're showing they're capable of. As far as the standings are concerned, and what I see when I look at that graph, um, you know, I see Columbus, which looks like a team of destiny right now. They're a team that's performing above what anybody would have possibly expected from them. And there's things going on in Columbus that we probably don't even understand. With Johnny and his brother, Johnny Goodrow and his brother passing away in the off season, and Sean Monahan, and there's karma stuff going on in Columbus that you know you know I don't think anybody can really mess with that. Like I think that they're gonna be a team of destiny this year. So I don't know that they're going to be able to keep it again. Just doing almost supernatural things that you wouldn't expect from them. Boston, I don't know. Like I mean, to me, Boston has kind of been a bit of an overachiever the last couple of years, in my opinion. I know that's probably not a popular opinion, but I'm not surprised to see them struggling a little bit. Ottawa, I think, has all of the tools to be a very good hockey team, and they would be probably, the other team I would expect, to have the most trouble with if the Canadians are going to try and make the playoffs. I don't see Detroit, being able to keep this up for the long term. So again, I'm with you, Coach. I also don't. I think that the Canadians can make playoffs. I would obviously be very happy to see them make the playoffs, but I don't expect it, and I won't be disappointed if they don't make the playoffs. Right? I think that you know, I'm more excited about the way they're playing hockey right now. And honestly, I guess if they continue to play hockey the way they are right now for the rest of the year, they probably will make the playoffs. Like if they continue to win 8 out of every 10 games between now and the end of the year, and their goals against is what it's been for the last month, and their goals for is what it has been for the last month, and their penalty kill and their power play all continue to be the way it's been since Christmas time, then they probably will make the playoffs. The question, I guess, becomes whether or not you think they could keep that up for another 40 games, 38 games, whatever it is. So again, for me, I think they're a good team. I think they're playing really, really well. But again, I'm not putting any expectation on it. For me, this is still a rebuild. I don't really have any interest in seeing them going out to make any significant changes. Certainly, no changes that are designed to get them into the playoffs here. I don't have any interest in that from this. I don't want to see them go and trade anybody so that they can bring somebody in who they think that can get them into a wild card spot. To me, if they can make it to the playoffs based on who they have in their lineup today, uh, I'm happy with that. If they can make it into the playoffs, and also get rid of one or two of the veterans that they have, then that's great. But I don't really have an interest in them going out and trying to sign somebody so that they can make the playoffs this year, because I don't think that's the ultimate goal for this team right now. I think the ultimate goal is just to continue with the rebuild, play as well as they can to continue to develop, and then wait, for the next wave of prospects to make their way up to the team and continue to improve. So, yeah, when I look at this, you know, it's obviously, I mean, 6 points between first and eighth place in the wild card. That's a very very tight race, and two or three losses in a row, and you're at the bottom of this list, right? It doesn't take a lot. So I'm not getting my hopes up, to any great degree yet. But it is very encouraging to see the way that the Canadiens are playing right now, and to see that they're right there next to teams like Ottawa and Boston.
Yeah. Look, this is going to be fun. Like I said, people may be thinking it's not because of negative, it's because I still believe um, they're still missing a couple of things for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, it's fun to watching them. It's good to watching them. The vibe is there. I love the progression and excited every game, right? But I still don't said, oh, this they're all in now. They're going to be make it. For me, yeah, other thing more important is how do you going to learn to win game. The progression, the team, the progression as well team, as well players. Talk about development, improvement, everything like that, right? And then after that, the learning to the different aspect of the game, the details of the game, the power play, the PK, and this is really important. The most important thing after that is the meaningful game after the trade deadline in March and April for the team grow and to learning what it takes when you play those games. And they already play there. Those games they play right now, they've been the last 2 weeks and today and tomorrow and the next couple of weeks. They are meaningful game. Montreal Canadiens are now 14-1-0. One day lead after 40 minutes. Montreal Canadiens are able to bounce back after they've set one goal to go now. It's a team learning to be resilient, to not give up, and to be patient. The maturity as a group is growing. A lot of great positive things happening for the Montreal Canadiens after a really disappointment start of the season. But I still believe they're missing a couple of things before the next thing. And they make it, I'll be the first one to screaming, hallelujah. But you don't make it, but it's still in the mix, perfect. And the mix for me is 5 point or less. After 5 point, and more less game you have that, like you said, 38 game to go now. But you have 30 game and now you have 7 point. It's going to be harder and harder every game you're losing. And unfortunately, when you are, for me, this, yeah, two things, Devin, when I see that graphic. If you're still winning, you stay in the mix. You're losing 3 game, you could be now out of the mix really quickly, right? So the key for me with Martin Saint, we said, good guys, we cannot lose more at 2 game. Like, normally put some pressure, but you have to realize we cannot leave 3-4 because every game you can have two teams make point. So it's hard to do that. And the team have look, Montreal have a great run right now, and they're still not in the playoff. So they have to win not 6 game anymore, more a 7 game to be trying to stay in the mix and to be in the playoffs. So this is fun. This is a good race. But the World Cup this year, the Eastern Conference, it's so fun to see that, and it's going to be like this. The event, maybe not Montreal, but many teams, and maybe with Montreal all the way to the end. A race of 5, 6, 7, and maybe 8 team.
Yeah, and it's great experience for the young players on this team. The longer they stay in contention, for this team to be playing meaningful games in the second half of the season, you know, you're obviously going to get experience playing in the NHL regardless. But if you're playing games that mean something, those games will give those young players more experience. And by the way, coach, we can talk about Jacob Fowler now, I think.
Shootout number 5 of the season for Fowler. The shootout is another player for the Montreal Canadiens pipeline, Logan Sawyer for the Providence Pirates. They won by the score 3-0 tonight. So great for him, Jacob Fowler. And then Michael Edge has 0 points tonight. The Michigan came back to beat the Michigan State by the score 3-2. This is the battle of the Michigan, honestly. Two big schools in hockey. And Michigan found a way to get a W tonight. Like I said, Michael Edge, 0 point for NCAA. And the Laval Rocket bounced back after they decided to come back with 3 goals on answer. To win again 3-2 again. Team Utica stay on the top of the North Division. And then we have 3 goals as front players. So we got Mayu, 6th of the year. Florent Jacquet is 8th of the year. Is 9 of the season for Owen Beck, the game-winning goal for Owen Beck. So you get a bit more what's going on around the Montreal Canadiens. Today, Kapanen scored a goal, by the way. Is 9 of the season. I think yesterday, honestly. But fun to see Kapanen back in the lineup after his injury last weekend. So he scored a goal for the Team Timra. And today, Team Timra lost TPS Koivu. They have 0 points today, so I can go away like that, but honestly, good for Tobes to get there. Now, I'm going to bring you, we have about 30 minutes max to go there. I want to bring you to other subject we got for the Montreal Canadiens. And I will not go with the way I want to do it because I think I have a fun thing I want to talk about. Why not to have that kind of conversation Friday night? It's interesting. I think the people will join it. Yeah, some already talk about this. The Habs rumor. I think Montreal Canadiens missing center. PLW just mentioned this in the chat. I think Montreal missing a right defenseman also. Said that, what's fun player on the market? Randall Riley, Bennett, Nemec, Yannick Gores. I will mention all those names. Yeah, we talk about Rantanen this way. I don't want to get there anymore. But what do you feel about the Montreal Canadiens? Do you think a national player like Bennett would be a good addition for Montreal, second or third center? Randall Riley, do you trade for him? What about Simon Nemec? Right defenseman stuck with the Devils right there and could be on the market to be traded. Do you want to get this? What would be the cost to get those players? Maybe you guys in the chat or Devils say, not at all. I don't want Nemec. I don't want Bennett. I don't want Riley. But I want this player. So there's an open chat right now for everybody for the next 5-10 minutes. And I think that's a good subject to sharing this on the Friday night before the Montreal play 2 games on the weekend. Back-to-back game again at Toronto Maple Leafs. Saturday night, I love this one. And then the hockey night in Canada. And Sunday, again, the New York Rangers. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I frankly don't have much desire for O'Reilly and Bennett. Certainly not for O'Reilly. I don't think O'Reilly fits into the rebuild plan as an older guy. I think that I'm not overly concerned about the second line center position. One, because I think Doc will turn out to be just fine, and two, I think we have guys coming up behind him that will be just fine if he's not. So O'Reilly to me is not. I don't think he fits within the parameters of what Kent Hughes has told us the plan is, and I just don't. I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's a guy I would be interested in having with this team. Bennett obviously has a lot. There's a lot that's attractive about Sam Bennett, but again, I don't. He's not as old as O'Reilly. He's 28, I think.
Who?
I just, Sam Bennett is 28.
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, there's, he's got an attractive skill set and whatever, and to me, I don't see him. I don't like as a second line center. I certainly don't see him in that role. Being better than what the Canadiens already have. He brings physical. Maybe in a third line center, he'd be great, but I mean, I think he would cost way too much money to be a third line center. Nemitz is a different story for me, though. I think, as you know, Coach, we kind of went back and forth with it between yourself and I and Marco and Entertap earlier today. We talked about it, and you know, I'm sort of always of the my first reaction always to be like I'd rather see how our own guys will do. Like I'd rather see how Mayu can turn out. I'd rather see how Engstrom can turn out. I'd rather see how a Reinbacher can turn out, as opposed to bringing somebody new in. But I do think Nemitz is a very, very intriguing prospect. I mean, he's 20. He's the same draft as Slavkovsky, right?
Yeah. He's
So
just 20
he's
years old.
20. He's 20 years old. So and there's a lot to like about his game. Again, I wonder why he's not with the New Jersey Devils right now. And I get that their roster is a little bit different, more difficult to crack than the Canadians is right now.
And the
But
reason behind that,
again,
David, I
I
just
do.
want to share with you what's going on with the Devils, right? They have 5 right defensemen. They have Doug Hamilton, UFA, signed a contract long term. They have Brett Pesci, they signed during the summer, long term contract. They're looking to book John Kovacevic, offer him a contract. An example, he gave him a 3 years contract, a 4 year deal contract for Kovacevic. But now you don't have no spot for Nemec. And don't forget, Sean Casey is another right defenseman with the team Utica. And he's a prototype of player like Simon Nemec, but smaller. He's only 5'9", 5'10", Casey. But the guy can rush the play very well. Another, like I was said, Zellweger with the Anaheim Ducks example. So, again, that's like Simon Emek, 3 years went on American Hockey League. A little bit happening with David Chirecek, a second overall pick. Now it's okay. What is my spot? Where I'm going to be a spot if you sign Kovacevic now? And this is the reason now.
Yeah,
I don't think the Devils will put him on the
yeah,
market tonight. But this players like the Devils are thinking they can get a chance to step up to get something good long term. They feel like maybe Nemec could be a player available because the right side of the D is solid compared to the left side.
yeah. No, and I get that. And I mean, I guess the response I would have to that is, why are you out signing guys like Pesci and Jonathan Kovacevic if Nets is your what was he, second overall draft pick, and a guy who so again, I'm intrigued by him. I think he would be an interesting guy in Montreal. But what would it take to get him over here? Like you're probably giving up, either Mayu plus something, Reinbacher plus something, I would say. So again, are you willing to do that? And for me, my gut reaction always is to say I would rather keep the guys that we have and see how they turn out rather than go and sort of give up on a guy before we see what he's made of and then, bring somebody else in. Like you're essentially saying, I'd rather see what Nemitz can become than wait and see what, Reinbacher or Mayu can become. If you can bring him in and not, trade one of those prospects, if you can figure out a way to trade, draft picks or something that you can are a little more willing to lose, then maybe you bring him in. But then you create a bit of a backlog here as well as now you've got in addition to Reinbacher and Mayu and Engstrom and whoever else is coming along, you've got you're adding another guy to that mix. But he is an intriguing player, and I do think he could be a guy who could get brought in and would probably fit in really well with Montreal. And he I would be interested in seeing that. But as far as Bennett and O'Reilly are concerned, they're just one, they're not guys that you bring in on a rebuild, and they're just not I have confidence in what Kirby Doc's capable of. I know I see a couple people in the comments saying that he hasn't proven anything yet. Well, he has proven something, right? He's shown what he's capable of. In the past. The way he was playing going into last season, I think, obviously it was a short sample size, but he looked really good. There were, the end of the season before that, he looked good as well. So, again, am I 100% certain that Kirby Doc is going to become a high level second line centerman in the NHL? No, but what I see from him and what I see at skill set, leaves me pretty confident as to what he's capable of. And again, if he doesn't become that guy, then there are guys coming in behind him, right? There's guys who are coming along who can fill that role, and I don't think we need to be going out there signing. I mean, how old is Ryan O'Reilly? He must be close to 35 years old, is he now? And I don't see why you would go out and sign a 35-year-old, guy like Ryan O'Reilly. By the way, didn't enjoy playing in Toronto because he felt like there was too much media and too much pressure there. So I'm not sure that Montreal is going to be any better for him, in that respect. So, I will say definitely not to O'Reilly, a very small maybe to Bennett, and maybe a good strong maybe for Nemitz, I guess is what I would say for those three guys.
I want to warm up you for a friendship quiz, Devin. So I will have this question for you tonight. Who has the most point between Crosby, Malkin, Backwell, and Nedeljkovic?
Crosby, Malkin, who and who? Who were the last two?
Backwell and the goaltender, Nedeljkovic.
Who has the most points?
Yeah.
No, I hope it's not the goalie.
It is. One goal, one assist for 2 points tonight.
In tonight's game.
Yeah.
Oh, in tonight's game. Okay. I thought you meant for the season. I was like,
no,
what?
I said for the tonight at the beginning. I said for the tonight game.
Okay.
He become the 16th goaltender in the NHL score a goal. He have also an assist. He have 2 points for him for Nedeljkovic tonight. So fun to see that. And Pittsburgh beat 5-2 the Buffalo Sabres. So you're going to tell me, oh my God, this is a very bad game for Buffalo. They shot 42 times on the goalie versus 19 only. So, not a lucky season for the Buffalo Sabres. So, really great performance for that one with it. Listen, O'Reilly, I can understand that. Sam Bennett, for me, is really interesting case for Sam Bennett. Again, both players does not, I think they want to go to Montreal, right? But Sam Bennett, I think a team looking for a middle center, second center or third center is really the key for him. His impact is really on the playoff. Is aggressive, forechecking, everything like that. He play a specific role in the playoff. I don't think he's going to sign that. But Simon Nemec, for me, all in about him for the Montreal Canadiens. 6'1", 190 pounds, carrying the puck, really solid carrying the puck, everything like that. The cost for him, I don't know exactly. But this is better at Mayu, no doubt. No doubt. Now you cannot compare both of them, Mayu and him. For me, Nemec. For me, I think it could be better to Rebacker. At that point, that's a belief for Nemec. But now the Devils, what they're looking in return, don't set Mayu or anybody else because he's a right defenseman. Devils does not need a right defenseman. Are they going to consider a left defenseman? Can they consider an Adam Ekstrom, the first round pick of the Calgary Flames? Are they consider maybe a player established in the NHL like Jake Evan or Joan Armia or something like that? I don't have no clue. But if I'm asking me which one I would looking for, Nemec would be someone I was looking for the Montreal Canadiens. It depends the cost for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, what we don't know here, Devin, everybody here, is how the Montreal evaluate the player, right? The stat, the analytics, everything like that. We don't know exactly how they think about Mayu, how they think about this player, this players. They have the template, they have their plan, they know exactly how they're thinking. But if you're asking me, on the evaluation player, on my eyes, for what I see for Simon Nemec versus David Rebacker and versus Logan Mayu, I put Nemec first compared to them. But the time we tell us for the Montreal Canadiens, but this is a two position. At the end of the day, I believe the Montreal had to figure out something on the right side, and of course, as a center for the Montreal Canadiens. Talking about the Montreal Canadiens center, that would be another subject. We want to finish that one. The center for the Montreal Canadiens in 2025, 2026. This is the template, Devin. You can look about this and see about that. You agree or not? we're going to get right now Suzuki, Kirby Dak, Jake Evan, Owen Beck, Oliver Kapanen, and the future, we have Michael Edge. So he said to me, "Oh, that's not too bad at all. But is it good enough?" And the future, not only next season, are you feel comfortable to have Jake Evan on your third center for the next 2 years? Are you feel comfortable the evaluation of the Kirby Dak to be a second center for the next 2 years? Are you feel comfortable Beck or Capel be your center at the bottom? I don't mention Jacky there. Honestly, guys, I understand Jacky where he accomplished the last 2 games, back-to-back goal, everything like that. And I said I put Michael Edge there because this is the next highest pick for the Montreal as a center. Is it good enough or not? You feel a long term also with the Montreal Canadiens. So that's we have to work about that. If you want to say yes or no, and then after that you can say, okay, what would be your suggestion to get a player to set up there? Is it by UFA? Is it by trade? Or do you think it could be become from the inside of the pipeline? Switching, example, Sakeski center, switching Dimitrov center, Patrick Lenny center. I can, I just, or, you know,
Yeah.
and I can put
I mean,
New Hook
all of
there. I
those.
did not put New Hook there, by the way, but
Yeah. I mean, I think all of those things. I mean, for me, um, I'm comfortable with Suzuki and Doc as number one and number two, especially if you say, as you say, Demidov is coming along, and you know I think I do honestly think that Demidov will get an opportunity to see if he's capable of playing center in the NHL, and based on what I've seen from him in Russia, I don't think you can put anything past that kid. I mean, I'd like to do something. I think he'll try and find a way to do it. So again, I'm comfortable with the way the first two lines are. Obviously, there's lots of things that can happen, as far as injuries and whatever are concerned. To me, if Evans is your fourth line center, I mean, to me, if you have a fourth line of Evans, Beck, and Luke Tuck or Florian Jacki or somebody like that, I know that those are all right-handed players. I think Evans, Beck, and you've got Heineman in there, like so as far as that goes as a fourth line, I think I'm comfortable with that. So the way I see it is, I mean, obviously the first line is we're pretty comfortable with the first line. I'm pretty comfortable with the second line, especially knowing that you know Demidov and Hage are coming along. I'm pretty comfortable with the fourth line if they're able to re-sign Evans. The question then becomes the third line. What does the third line look like? So then you're looking at guys like Kapanen. You're looking at guys like Michael Page. If he doesn't fit into the whoever doesn't fit into that second line, slides down to your third line, and then you've got Kapanen there. You've got who else am I missing here? Joshua Roy might fit into that mix. Obviously, got work to do to get there. But so for me, I think first line and fourth line, again, conditional upon Evans re-signing, I think you're pretty comfortable with. I know not everybody is as confident in Kirby Doc as I am, but again, Doc Newhook and Doc Newhook and Line are perfectly fine for me. Demidov comes along and maybe Newhook slides down to the third line, with Kapanen, and so again, the question I guess you asked at the beginning was, is it good enough? Yes, I think it is. Given what we have coming up through the pipeline, and as well as I do, Coach, with when it comes to prospects, the reality is that a certain percentage of them are going to succeed, and a certain percentage of them are not going to succeed. So then you start talking about guys like Sam Harris and Thorpe and all these other prospects, and not all of those guys are going to play in the NHL. I mean, I think you and I will agree on that. I mean, that's a reasonable expectation, but one or two of them probably will, right? Like if you've got 10 prospects, the chances are that one or two of them will be in the NHL. They're not going to become superstars, if they're not drafted in. But if one of those guys can fit onto your fourth line or your third line, whether it's a Tyler Thorpe or whoever it might be, then I'm in good shape. And one of the things the Canadiens have done really well is they've created a stable of young prospects. And when you obviously quality is important when you're amassing prospects like that, but quantity is important as well. Because regardless of how good you think the quality of those prospects is, a certain percentage of them is not going to pan out. They're either not going to work out at all, or they're not going to turn out to be the player you thought they were. But again, the Canadians do have a pretty big stable of prospects right now, and I think we can reasonably expect that a couple of them will turn out to be contributors at the NHL level. So, given what you've shown us right here, I think that to me it is. And again, if it's not, a couple years down the road, then they can use some of those drafts or prospects to bring in a guy that they need. But I'm pretty comfortable with lines 1 and line 2 and line 4. I think the big question mark for me is line. It's not so much that I'm not comfortable with it. It's just who is it going to be, right? I think the players are there. It's just a matter of who are they going to end up being.
Good question about a good answer about this. I want to mention that this is what I feel about this, right? Um, we don't know what Kobidak is going to be, right, at the next 12 months. My feeling, the way he played defensively, is a red flag for me, from my opinion. I think Montreal Canadiens need to upgrade center number 2 position at long term, from my opinion. Now, for me, Jake Evans is not part of my plan in the next 3 years after the window of 2 years. Owen Beck is going to be my plan right there. So, third center and fourth center, is it better to keep Kirby Dak at the third center or upgrade with more physical and forechecking, everything like that? We don't know yet. I don't have the evaluation, progression, and development for Montreal Canadiens. But I feel comfortable because Michael Edge is coming. And Michael Edge in the next 2 years, 3 years. This is my middle term for the Montreal Canadiens. Michael Edge is going to take the spot at number 3 or number 2. I believe you cannot keep Kapanen, Beck, Jake Evans, Kirby Dak in the next 3 years. Montreal will need to trade someone. Michael Edge is upgrade. I'm always thinking, guys, to upgrade the position to get better and better. You want to get the next level. I don't want to have a team right now. I'm talking about David only make the playoff. Does it make sense? Like I'm thinking about a team go the next level, and I think for me, I
100%.
have to upgrade the position of center. Zuski, I'm okay with that. Better to make the Kirby Dak and better to Kapanen and Beck. I think Michael Edge could fix the problem there. And after that, they will have to figure out what the piece of the missing piece. And I don't know where we're going to be in the next 3 years, Devin. About is it a forechecker? Is it physicality? Is it a defensive players more? Does that make sense? So the bottom 6 is really where I'm not sure yet the development of Michael Edge or Owen Beck or Kapanen. And then could be that. I believe all the names I just mentioned to you can complete the bottom 6 at long term with the Montreal Canadiens. If one of them become or still be the second center Montreal, that'd be okay. But I think Montreal Canadiens, that piece of the puzzle, second center, have to be better at Kirby Dak. We see or what we know right now. Again, I don't know what Kirby Dak can look like in the next 16 months, right? We don't know yet. But if that be only the Dak we know, but I think it's not good enough at Montreal to become not only a team try to make the playoff, but a team in the playoff to be at the top 10 in the NHL and to be a part to play the second round, the third round, and maybe more. So this is what my plan or my vision about that. Right or wrong, I'm not sure, but this is what I'm thinking.
Ask you a question?
Oh yeah, you can.
So yeah. So my first comment about that would be I agree with you. If Kirby Doc can be good enough to play second line center, I don't think he has the skill set to be a third line center. I think you need to be better defensively. You need to be better on the face off to play on that third line. So again, to me, if Kirby Doc can't make it as the second line center, I don't think that there's a role for him on this team. I think probably you look at trying to trade him or find a way to get him out of town. So again, I don't think he had, like, to me, my line needs to have, be a pretty good two-way line. They need to be, they don't need to be exclusively defensive. They don't need to be exclusively, offensive. They need to be a good combination of both. So in that sense, I don't think that Doc fits on the third line. I also don't think that Michael Hayden fits on the third line unless he can evolve his game between now and then, right? His game will have to change quite a bit if he's going to play on a third line role. So that's my comment. My question to you is: would you ever envision a scenario where both Evans and Beck were on a fourth line together, where you slid Evans onto the wing and had him play with Beck, and then maybe Heineman or Talk or Jackeye? Like, to me, I get your vision of Beck being that fourth line center of the future, and it's my vision as well. But I can definitely envision a scenario where Beck is that fourth line center of the future. But to me, that doesn't, I think Evans is capable, or Beck could switch to the wing and Evans could go center. I think that's probably the less likely scenario. But I think there's a scenario where those two guys could both be very good. Like, I mean, how good would a fourth line with Owen Beck and Jake Evans be? I mean, that would be. I mean, again, can you afford them? And how long can you afford them? I guess becomes an issue as well. But I mean, just as far as their skills and talents on the ice, a fourth line with Evans and Beck is a Stanley Cup contending team. If those are the guys you have on your fourth line, you're looking pretty good.
Yeah. Again, the time will tell us, right? The time will tell exactly what's happening about that. I don't know who's going to select Cameron Schmidt for the Vancouver Giants, but this is another Cole Caulfield in NHL. So remember that
He's
name,
small,
Cameron Schmidt. 30 goals this year in the WHL. Is only 5'7". Look, this is
like Berkeley Cat.
Yeah, he's going to be drafted at the selection when Montreal it is between 11 to 17. But Montreal is not going to get him for sure. But we'll see what's happening because he's smaller. He could be dropped in the first round, maybe like Kevin Brindley for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So they came at 29, 30. But anyway, point behind that, guys, this is a good problem for the Montreal Canadiens at the end of the day to have what they have. And only the time of evaluation of the players they didn't have the answer of what we discussed tonight. We just assume, we just predict, we're just thinking. And it's not confirmed here. But I think the time will tell us exactly what Michael Edge is going to be in NHL. We don't know yet, right? Is it become a Vincent Trocheck? Is it a guy like Nathan Kadri on the second line as a second center in NHL or not? I don't know about Michael Edge. But again, I believe for me, at long term, they need to get a better second center at long term with the Montreal Canadiens. If Dak, Beck, Evans, Kapanen, or Edge cannot get that kind of player we're looking for. So that's all we tell us, guys, about the center from Montreal Canadiens. I think it was a good subject to talk about this tonight. I think that would be the right thing to see what Montreal is going to do the next couple of years. I have other subject, guys, for one to finish a little bit at 10:30 tonight. I have the Clash. I have the Montreal Canadiens. We talk about this, Martin St. Louis. But I'm going to go with the quiz tonight. The quiz is back only for tonight to have a good time to finish Friday night. I think we have some kind of celebration, and I think that would be the first time Devin is not with me alone, but to do the friendship quiz. We did this for many years. Every year we did the friendship quiz. We accumulate the win of the people week after week. We did at the first 3 years, we did almost every night. And then last year we did the Friday night. And this year, with many things was going on with the Montreal Canadiens, we don't have no time. I said, tonight we're testing Devin about the friendship quiz. 5 questions for the show tonight for the friendship quiz. So be ready, guys. Understand that. Thanks for all the likes, guys, for everybody. 54 likes. We appreciate a lot of everything to be a part of the show tonight. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock p.m., we do the play-by-play Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. About that. So the friendship quiz, it's a question. You have 1 minute to answer. Devin, you don't answer right away. You have to wait at the end. We check the answers for the people in the chat. And then at the end, I ask you your answer of the question. and we accumulate. On the 5 question, I give you a 3 good answer from you to have a good test for the first time tonight on this show. The first question of the night, try to delete French quiz. And like we do this, and I'm a little bit behind because, I did not do this for a long time, and so I need to figure out where are they. The throw out the roll is right here about this one. Here we go, guys. On this first question. Another Ovechkin record. Last night, he marked his 13th career road overtime. Who the record before him? John Tavares, Yager, Crosby, Guanzel, and Pavelski. And the time is up on 1 minute. Just for tonight, Nicola.
So I wait until the end, right?
Yeah, you're just thinking about this. You can check the answer in the chat, and then you give your answer after the minute. Tavares, Yager, Crosby, Guanzel, Pavelski hold the record before the Ovechkin did it. Excel go with B. LDP go with D. A2 go with B. Sam go with A. Ron with A. Gary with A. LDB go with D. Nicola with A. Abination with E. Peter with E. Andy would go with E. And D is a good one, by the way. AK was always the semifinal. It was the runner-up, AK, last year, many years. Claude Richard go with E. Here we go, Devin. That's your time to give us your answer tonight. The first question tonight. Here we go.
Ooh.
Peter, go with
to say Pavelski.
Sebastian.
I'm tempted to say Pavelski, but
Pavelski. Here we go.
I think I'm going to go with, just because he has the most points out of all of those people, I'm going to say Yager. B.
The answer is Yaga. On that one, Devin, A2XL, Sebastian number 2, had the good answer of the first question of the night. Congratulations, all every one of you. And let's move on for the question number 2. Question number 2. How many teenage players have reached the 100 point in NHL? 18 of them, 20 of them, 22 of them, 24 of them, or 26 of them? Time is start. You're right, Sebastian. Excel, you're too good. Mariska is getting it. Sorry, you should. A2, you did well on that one. LDC, LDP go with C. Nicola go with B. A2 with C. Nicola go with B.
Can I ask for a clarification?
Ron go with D. Hold on. Go with C. Gary with C. Sam with D. Sebastian with C. A lot of C. Woody, A, Peter, C, XL, A for Mark. A, Abination, Jack, McCall go with A. Andy go with A. How about that one? Here we go, Devin. You have a choice.
So I guess, clarify, you're talking about not 100 points in a season. You're talking about they reached 100 points for their career while they were still teenagers.
Exactly.
Okay. So I did see this the other day because Connor Bedard, I think it's Connor Bedard that I think is the most recent guy to do this.
Yep.
And I don't know if I can remember what the number was. It was in the 20s, so it's not 18. Uh, I want to say 26, but I'll
26 for
say it's
D.
either. I'll say 20. I'll say D 24.
24 for you. Here we go.
I think that's yeah. And Bedard is the latest guy to do it, right?
Answer is D, 24 on that one. And Devin take the lead with two good answers on that one. And many of you said 8, but the answer, guy, is D with that 24. Connor Bedard exactly did the 24. That's a good answer. Devin, you take the lead. 5 questions, by the way, 3 to go for everybody. Be ready. Here we go. Question number 3. The Golden Knight is story to score multiple power play goals and one in a game, a single regular goal. Who held that record prior to him? It was Carlson, Ola, Marchessault, Stone, or Theodore. Which players has to held the record of the multiple power play goal and one regular single game? Who hold that record per him? Is it Carlson, Ola, Marchessault, Stone, and Theodore? The time is on. RDB, go with C.
So are you saying somebody just broke this record and you're asking who held it before that?
Exactly. A little bit like Jagger with Ovechkin.
Okay, so who just broke the record now?
That's a good question. I'm not remember.
Okay, that's okay.
I apologize. Hold on, yeah, but that answer did not go there. Hold on about that. NDP with C, Gary with A. We have Excel with D, Abination with D, Markele with D, D, C for Nicolas William, Willie Sam with C, A2 with C, A Ron with A, Sebastian with C, E with ND. The time is up for everybody. And any tip you can give us, Mr. Devin? What you thinking, or what you thinking about that one?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I really don't know. The two guys that make the most sense to me are Marchessault and Stone. I will go with C, Marchessault.
Marchessault. Oh my God! Sorry about that. I thought to get my pick is right there. But when you are wrong, Devin, we ask you what would be your second guess.
I mean, I said Marchessault or Stone, so I'll say Stone is my second guess. I'm probably wrong.
Eric Ola is the winner on that one. B. Only Mark Elliott did it on that one. He was coach like to squeeze people. He's really tricky sometimes. And the name he can put there could be out of that one. I think Sean Theodore would be an interesting case as a defenseman. But Eric Ola got that record before that one. Next one, question number 4 of this show tonight. 2 to go. Which goaltender was in the net twice when a Montreal Canadiens player scored their 500 goal career? Cesar Maniago, Terry Sakchuk, Tony Esposito, Gilles Gilbert, and Gilles Melache. The time is on. Ron, you don't remember Eric Ola? Yeah. LDB go with E, Gilles Melache. I like those Gilles Melache and Maniago. Matt go with A. Ron with C. Abination with D. Pete Martin go with C. Devin lead by 1. Nicolas go with B. And we have A2 with E. And we have Sen A. William C. Claude Richard B. Here we go, Devin. Your time is coming. Are you ready on that one? Bob Smith go with C. Here we go. What are you thinking about that one? Very interesting goaltender. The good thing you can see, those goaltender was in 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah, you got to think about who has 500 goals for the Canadiens, right?
Yep.
Maurice
Richard,
they have
Guy Lafleur, Jean Béliveau.
Right. So you got to think about two guys who did around the same time.
Exactly.
And so I don't
LG said A, and D said E, Sebastian said E. Here we go.
I'm going to say Terry Sawchuk because I think he would have been around when two guys did it. And it was back in the days when there were only 6 teams and they would have played each other quite a lot. I'll take Terry Sawchuk.
What is your second guess?
Oh, really?
Yep.
My second guess, I guess, will be Cesar Maniego then.
But like Woody Snyder does many times, what is your third guess?
Really? Gilles Melache.
Ah, not that one. Gilles Gilbert, Mr. Devin did it. Only Abination did it, guys. We have one answer, one question to go. Devin lead by 2. Devin, you honestly can win the contest tonight with a great answer, or many other can join you. So last one question of the night, question number 5. What is the record for the most goals scored in the single game by the Anaheim Ducks players? Who did it the most? Perry, Selene, Perry, or Carrier? So honestly, what you can see, is it 4 goal or is it 3 goal? Does it make sense? And then the name comes with that one. Here we go. Oh my God! C for XL. LDP is on the gun all the time with the E first right there. XL go with C. A2 go with C. Again, Devin is on the driver because he's going to take the last decision. And if he wins, it's over. A2 with C. You have Runway Kings with D. LG go with B. Abination go with E. Pete Marc C. Claude Richard with B. Send the man with E. Willie with C. Mark with D. Gary Conway with D. AK go with B. Jack McCall with C. Sebastian with C. Here we go. Devin, now you can finish this game over if you got it. What do you think? Here we go.
B. Solani with 3.
B. Your answer is B, like a boy, or D, like a dog?
B as in boy.
So 3 like Perry at A, right?
Say it again. Are you trying?
I just want to get your answer. A, B, C, D, E.
B. 3. Solani.
Yes, right about that. It's over. Game over, guys. The answer is Devin with 3. We have Jack McCool got that one. Claude Richard got that one. And RJ Calabo got a good answer on that one on this great quiz. Devin, you did the test. You did finish strong with 3 good answers. It was my prediction of the night. I said Devin's going to get 3 of the night. Lead the show tonight with the best of the quiz Frenchie tonight. Guys, we did that not often, but I think tonight was a good purpose to do that. We feel good about everything and think it will be great to see that. You know, man, you deserve that one, Devin, about that one over there.
Did I
We'll
do
be
as well
right
as
back tomorrow
Intertap?
night. I'm sorry again.
Did I do as well as Intertap?
Yeah, I think we'll be in the right situation with Intertap. Intertap is really strong about that one. So I think you're going to get a good. Maybe we can do another matchup one night, Friday night, with you and Devin about that. One time we do a tournament at the end of the French quiz at the end of the year. Usually we bring 8 people and we eliminate all the way to the end. AK and Intertap, I believe, back to back 2 years they were the runner up and Intertap won. I think AK won one time also. So good to see that. I think it's helping also to know hockey. It makes us like question about everything. It's not only about the Montreal Canadiens. So I think for tonight we don't this too many times.
Can
We
I
have
ask
too many people in the chat usually. So but tonight I think it was a good night to do that.
who were the two Canadians that Gilles Gilbert gave up the? Do we know? Like, I'm just trying to think who they would have been.
I believe it's Guy Lafleur and Jean Béliveau.
Really?
I believe. Now, César
'Cause there would have been
Miniaco
a
played.
big difference.
I believe César Miniaco have also in the mix on that one, but I think I can look again for Gilles Gilbert, but I think César Miniaco was Jean Béliveau or something like that. Versus,
So who are the Canadians' 500 goal scorers?
yeah, I can look again. Jean Béliveau, he did it. It looked like Guy Lafleur did it also.
So Maurice Richard has 544. Guy Lafleur has 518. Jean Béliveau has 507. There's only 3 guys in the history of the Canadians who has the. So it would have to be Béliveau and Lafleur. There's no way it was Maurice Richard, right? Like, there's no way the same goalie allowed Maurice Richard. I guess it could have been allowed Maurice Richard and Jean
Guy Lafleur.
Béliveau, but that wouldn't have been Gilles Gilbert.
I have one here, Guy Lafleur, but I don't know if make it that way. I don't. I cannot sign on my other stuff like that. Anyway, that's conclude the show tonight, hey guys. Well, great to see everybody on the chat tonight. Thanks so much for all the moderators. I apologize for that one that disappeared. You. I don't worry. I'll be right back. I don't know why I put up the graphic all the way up there. That's funny. I was going to start the music. No, I was starting the music, and it looked like it started something else.
I'm going to be doing so. This week has been crazy, Coach. Like I did a show with you on Sunday. I did a show with you on Monday. The Canadians played on Tuesday. I didn't finish my show until 3 a.m.
Wow.
And then yesterday, my show didn't finish until 2 a.m. It's like I'm putting in the hours like you do, Coach, for a change.
Usually I do this when I go out. I came back tonight at 4:30 a.m. So I'm at a 90-minute sleep so far. So I'm going to be back tonight out one more time. Then I'm going to calm down everything after that. Was great to see everybody in the chat. Moderator Ron with King Luciano, thanks a lot to be a part of the show. Algie Calabro, the sport update, thanks a lot. All the people in the chat, guys, another great night. Before you leave the building, don't forget, please, to click on the like, if you don't mind. We'll be back tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at 7 p.m. over Montreal again versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we want to thank Devin again to be with us as the co-host. Always a pleasure to work with you, Mr. Devin, and we appreciate that. Very grateful, thankful. And the reason you come back all the time is because that's who you are.
You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you.
Exactly the reason why you are here, Mr. Devin. We wish you an amazing, great evening. I know it's late for you. We wish you an amazing, great weekend. And of course, the people can join your YouTube channel at what?
Recliner Sports 4. We do a live show every night after the Canadiens games called Habs After Dark. Would love to see you guys there. It would be awesome. We have a good time. I think a bunch of your followers come over to watch my show, but we can always use more. And we always have a good time, and hope to see you all there.
Awesome, Devin. We wish you an amazing, great weekend. I will see you next time for another episode of the Ab Podcast Show. Have a good night, Mr. Devin.
Merci, Coach. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It was Devin from Nova Scotia helping me and all of you guys talking about the Montreal Canadiens. Again, we want to remind you one more thing. Be well, BL. Find a way not only dominate your day, or find a way to dominate the first half of what? Someone said 2025. An amazing, great night, everybody. Enjoy the weekend in front of you. A lot of sport games going on. We have the hockey. You have the football playoff right there. The Dodger signed a Japanese players. Look like he's a good pitcher. I don't know baseball anymore, but it is what it is. And the Montreal Canadiens going to play this weekend. Can the Montreal Canadiens win one game, two games? We'll see. But it's fun to watch the Montreal Canadiens. Fun to have all of you with us. Of course, our Canadian should have nation. Want to tell you one more thing. We love you, friends. An amazing, great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock p.m. Good night, Nicola. 007. Welcome back in the house, by the way. Oh. It's coming. Booyah. Good night.